Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon,
Good
and good
morning.
evening, wherever you are.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Myself, first, Sony, moderator of this session, on behalf of Global Knowledge Research Foundation, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the International Congress on Information and Communication Technology. This eighth edition of this conference is organized in the hybrid mode. Physical mode is already in the end yesterday, and it was held in London on 20th and 21st February and 2023. And the digital mode is about to start today, and it's today and tomorrow. I hope you will all enjoy the knowledgeable and interactive sessions through the day. And there's one special note for the presenters that in this session, we have 6 presentation, and each presentation will be given 12 minutes for the presentation and 3 minutes for the question and answers. On 10 minutes, I will raise a gentle reminder to conclude your presentation. And another request for the presenters that you may all please stay connected with us till the closing remarks. Just a second. Okay, just before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to the chairs for the session. In this session, we have 2 session chairs. Dr. Elena Miron and Dr. Anuva Jain.
Hello, it's nice to meet all of you. So my name is Alina Miron. I'm a lecturer at Brunel University London, where the in-person conference was hosted yesterday and Monday.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Just want to give some short intro about the session chairs. Okay, Dr. Elena Miron is a lecturer in the computer science department at Brunel University, and she's also a member of the intelligent data analysis. Dr. Elena has a PhD in machine learning in the field of autonomous vehicles and is an artificial intelligence researcher, developer, and educator. And I just want to give one short intro about Dr. Anuva Jain. Dr. Anuva Jain is working as an associate professor and head of the Department of Computer Science and IT at IIS Jaipur, India. And academician for the last 22 years, she has actively contributed in teaching industry and R&D. Knowing that teaching is the best form of giving knowledge back to society, she has been involved in teaching and mentoring several students in the field of computer science. Her research interests include soft computing, computational studies, IoT, and software engineering. She is the author of 9 books and has published a number of papers at national as well as international level. Welcome to both of the session chairs.
Thank you, Harsh. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Alina. It's nice to meet you.
Okay, so now we should start with the papers. I would like to invite our first presenter. A second. Tian Huo, and he's presenting on cross-link interface handling of 5G with stubborn non-overlapping full deflects.
Harsh, sorry, we had a request yesterday to make a slight change to the schedule and to have like the first presenter, Stavolo Agostino.
Yeah.
Just a second, I will show the flyer of the author.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning. Just a second. Okay, so Stavro is presenting on the use of latent semantic analysis for political communication.
Yes.
For election campaigns. Okay, dear author, you may please start your presentation.
Yes.
So we forgot to mention, you have in total 15 minutes for each presentation. Usually try to stick to 10 minutes presentation, and then we'll have 3-4 minutes of for questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm Agostino Stavolo. I'm a PhD student in Social Sciences and Statistics at the University of Naples Federico II. And this work that I present today was made with the professors Maria Gabriella Grassia and Marino Marina from University of Naples Federico II and Dr. Rocco Mazza from University of Campania Luigi Vanvitelli. As we say, the title of our work is the use of latent semantic analysis for political communication, in particular the extraction of topic for election campaign. So we know that the diffusion of Web 2.0 and the technological progress associated with social media have changed the way people communicate opinion, ideas, feelings, experience of everyday life. In particular, social listening emerges in how we communicate and listen to others using a domain of social media and communication technologies. In particular, it occurs in a variety of contexts. The first is the interpersonal messaging on digital applications such as Snapchat, but also online social network sites, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and messaging on mobile devices. In particular, we are focused on a microblogging platform and social networks, because they play a predominant role to detect opinions and attitudes on relevant topics. The potential appears to be most promising in the political context, as it can foster greater public participation and democracy, but also they are important for disseminating political information. Microblogging platform and social network increase the political participation both among citizens and political institutions. From the perspective of political institutions, social media provide information based to pull the public opinion on policies and political issues, and to enter into a dialogue with the citizen. So the use of the platforms allow candidates to mobilize supporters, build communities, especially during election campaigns, for discussing this political issue, but also for promoting these issues. On the other hand, citizens discuss and debate political issues, consulting politicians, parties, but also for creating a direct community channel with candidates. In particular, it's becoming increasingly important to collect, monitor, and analyze user-generated political information on social media. In this context, we have reported our goal of this work. The first objective is to pull the target community to understand the citizen needs and create a targeted institutional response that develops policymaking strategies. For doing this, we use posts and comments produced by citizens in a Facebook group that we have chosen Open Succivo. As I say, Succivo is a small city in Italy, in Campania. But also in 2021, they are elected the new mayor. So we analyze the principal topic of discussion inside this group for use to politics, a strategy to develop policy-making strategies. So for identifying the major theme of discussing, we use a latent semantic analysis that is a factorial technique useful in social statistics. In particular, we choose Facebook because on the platform there are a lot of contents produced by users, such as posts, comments, and all we share on social media, images, videos, photos, and etc. But also the data are semi-public, so we can extract data from a public group, a public page, our profile, and this is an important question for a social researcher. In particular, as I say, we selected the Facebook group called Open Succivo. It's a public group that contains a lot of members and residents in the city of Succivo. And we extracted the posts and comments from January 2019 to December 2021 using the scraping software named Crowtangle. In particular, we extracted and the gender of the subject who published the contents, the number of likes, the number of comments, and also the textual elements, so the body of the post or the comment. But we excluded from the selection all the videos, the images, and links to articles or other external groups. At the end of this phase, we extracted more than 3,000 contents composed of 839 posts and 2,760 comments. For our method, we use a latent semantic analysis. It's a factorial technique that useful for representing the meaning of terms defined in the context of use in a collection of documents. It starts from a matrix of reduced dimensionality, and it's also applied in numerous fields such as information retrieval, AI, psychology, cognitive science, and especially in text mining and text research. It is also applied in the political communication field for extracting the topic of discussion. Here we have reported 3 examples from the literature that use latent semantic analysis for defining the topics. In the first, the authors identify the political issue according to LSA on the transcript of the presidential debates between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. In the second example, they investigated some speeches about war and peace of 2 Iranian leaders. And finally, the last work is define the relevant topics on which to base the election campaigns. The first step when we work with the textual element and so textual data, it's necessary to transform the data into a structured data, so it can be transformed and inserted into a matrix that we define lexical matrix composed by term on the row and documents on the columns, and so are necessary to perform some pre-processing phases for having a structured data at the end of this process. The first step is the tokenization, that is useful for identify the succession of characters of our words. So here we define our graphical form according to all the words that are presenting into the documents. And thanks to the tokenization, we can obtain the distinct strings that we call the tokens, separated by spaces, punctuation marks, or other type of characters. So this phase is important because we decompose the text into its component. In the second phase, we use the normalization. So we convert all letters of the text into a lowercase, and it's very useful for reducing the language variability. And also then we can eliminate the stop words. We identify all the words that when they are isolated from the context, they don't have a significance value, such as preposition, articles, conjunctions, and etc. But also we remove special characters, hashtag, and symbols. In particular, the last phase is about the grammar tagging. Is a process that can define our single graphical form to the corresponding particular part of speech. And so here we consider only the nouns, the verbs, and the adjectives for our analysis. And so we remove all the other part of speech, such as preposition, articles, and etc. At the end of this phase, we have the data that are inserted into a term document matrix and a database composed by more than 10,000 tokens and more than 4,000 types that are useful for the construction of the matrix. So when we insert the data into the matrix, according to this, we can use the latent semantic analysis. And so here I present some preliminary results. The first topic that we can extract, it refers to the municipal administration and management of the city. Behind the terms is they refer to the political subject in the municipal administration, such as the Major Papa and the ex-Major Colella. And in particular, according to the other terms, we can show that citizens also criticized the administration management in awarding tenders, point out little transparency in competitions and the resulting victory of the usual local companies. The tenders were announced over the 3 years analysis to address various issues in the area, such as securing roads and related sidewalks. But in particular, the people who live in Sucevo complained the necessity to the management to approve a lot of reforms that improve the livability of the city, which is experiencing a situation of disruption. The second topic is referred to the environment. So here we know that the city of Sucevo is one of the 90 municipalities belonging to the so-called Terra dei Fuochi, and so it is a territory that is affected by the phenomenon of illegal landfills, the uncontrolled abandonment of waste, urban waste, but also the combustion of the same. And so Sucevo falls within a critical area for the presence of toxic fires and illegal waste. And also there are some terms that refers to the other neighboring cities, such as Casoria, Frattamaggiore, Gricignano, that live this condition. Here we have reported other 2 topics. The first is referred to the condition of security that is central in the public debate. Residents of the city complain the poor security and poor control in the area. They demand to the measure and implementing the control policies to prevent dangers in the area, but also the necessity to maintain some rules, especially during the period of COVID-19 pandemic. And so the respect for the rules and the issue of control are central in this topic. The last is referred to the school. There are some terms that refer to some symptoms that the children suffer as a cold and fever, especially during the COVID-19 period. But also there is a lot of terms that refer to the issue of canteen, which was closed a lot of months because there is a school pavilion falling, and so there are a lot of problems in the managing for the parents. So for the conclusion, we know that the prominence of social media and this contact generated by the user are very important for investigation, the interaction between policymakers and citizens. At the end of this work, so we define our topic of discussion extracted from the interaction by the citizen, and according to this topic, the politicians, the parties can identify some strategies of policymaking for improve and resolve these problems. So for politicians, it's very important to identify this political issue because they are considered to issues to contain conflict, potential conflict, and may evolve into a crisis. And so they can predict the evaluation of constitutions' opinions. So here I just finished my presentation. Thank you for your attention. This is our contacts, this is our email for any suggestion and information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions?
Hello, everyone. I have one question. My name is Roman. I have one question regarding the data. So how many data you have collected like during this like gathering campaign from the social media, and how this data can how this data can impact of the results? What do you think? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your question. Yes, our data is referred to Facebook group because we noticed that the citizen also complain the question of the city in this group. So for identifying the major problems of the city that are not refers to the politics, but also from the citizen that live in the city, we need the necessity to understand what and which are the problems explained by the user, the citizen of Sucevo. And so we extracted these posts and comments from Facebook group. So this is our strategy.
Thank you. And maybe you can explain what was the process of this like collecting data. You have used like some tools or something like that for that, or just manually?
No, yes, we extracted data from according to software Crowtangle, and we extracted the textual element, the gender of subject. We published the content, number of likes, number of comments, and this is our information.
Yeah, thank you so much. Very interesting topic here.
Thank you so much.
I have a question for you. So right now you explore topic extraction, right? To see what concepts appear in those groups. What are your plans for future work?
Yes, this is a preliminary work that we have done with a local company for a local campaign. In this case, maybe we can also make a big work with a lot of another country or another city. In this, we also studied social media listening on social media. We are social statistics in these cases. So we are studying social media, what people say on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit. So this is our preliminary work, but we are studying a lot of other social and other questions.
What do you think are the limitations with working with social media data?
But the first limitation is that we don't have all the population. So we have only some people who write these things on a Facebook group, on Twitter, on Facebook, on other social. So we cannot generalize our results to the population of Italy or the population of Sucevo and etc.
Okay. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I have a question, Agostino. The presentation was really good. Did you consider any other technique other than LSA before finalizing it?
Yes, there are some other techniques that we are studying for identifying the topic of discussion. Now we have just started with this technique because my PhD project is based on a factorial technique to reduce the lexical matrix. But there are some techniques for topic modeling, such as latent Grealish reallocation or other topic modeling technique. So for now, we just starting with this technique that we can consider very useful for this type of work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we're ready for the next presentation. And that is by the paper on cross-link interference handling of 5G with subband non-overlapping full duplex.
Okay, thank you, German. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, thank you. First, I will introduce myself. I'm Zhiheng Guo from Huawei, from China. So I'm working for the mobile communication standards in 3GPP, and I'm also working on this duplex evolution topics. So here is my presentation. My presentation contains several sections. One is the introduction, and the other two are interference handling and the summary. And in the interference handling, I will introduce the three things. One is the inter-site blocking interference handling, inter-site leakage interference handling, and coexistence issues. First, let me introduce the duplex evolution. First, we have the synchronous TDD, because in TDD spectrum, the operators need to synchronize their TDD configurations to avoid the strong mutual information. So for each of the sites, the TDD configurations are the same. And then we have several technologies to enable this flexible TDD. That is, different TDD configuration, different sites can have different TDD configurations. So in this scenario, we need to handle the mutual information between the sites. For example, we need to handle the interference from this site to this site, because this site is transmitting and this site is receiving at the same time. And then here, recently we developed this subband for duplex, which is that for the same site we have simultaneous uplink and downlink, and they are adjacent to each other in the frequency. So this one can have better latency performance because the UE the terminal always have a time to transmit or receive. So the downlink or uplink packets won't be delayed by the fixed TDD configurations. And later on, we will develop this fully overlapped full duplex systems. This is the overall duplex evolution picture. And then in the subband, this presentation is about the subband of duplex, which is the uplink and downlink are at the same time and on the adjacent frequency. So they all have some interference. In this system, we have 7 kind of interference. One is the one and 2 are the traditional uplink and downlink interference, and the 3 and 4 are BS to BS and UE to UE cross-link interference. But this is the adjacent because the downlink and uplink are on the separate frequency. So the interference is kind of leakage interference, because when you transmit the signal on one frequency, and you will have some leakage on the adjacent frequency due to non-ideal components in the circuit. And the other 2, the 5 and 6 are BS to BS and UE to UE blocking interference. I will introduce what is the blocking interference later on. And the 7 is the self-interference, because the base station is transmit and receive at the same time on very close frequency. Okay, and this one is the intersite blocking interference handling. As by this picture, we have several base stations. For example, the base station 7 is the receiver base station, and the other 3 base stations are transmit base stations. So when these base stations are transmitting this receiver, sorry, I think I mixed this picture. But anyway, when the receiver is receiving, then he will receive the transmitted interference and its desired signal. So because the interference is very high and desired signal is very low, and then this very big signal may saturate its receiver amplifier, so make the receiver performance degraded. So here is a link budget of the blocking interference, and to see, for example, here we have traditionally 53 dBm transmission power of the aggressor, and we have some antenna gains, transmit antenna gains, and receive antenna gains. And we have the path loss between the aggressor and the victim. And then we can calculate that the received interference is the minus 20 dBm. But however, there will be 20 dB gap for the receiver to be saturated. That is when the blocking signal is higher than minus 40 dB, then the receiver will be saturated. So we need to suppress 20 dB of the blocking interference. Yeah, here our scheme is that we calculate the SVD of the channel of the interference and the desired signal. Then we for example here this is the aggressor and this is the victim, and the channel from the aggressor to the victim is HCOI, and to its normal user is HK. And then we do the SVD decomposition of these channels and put the SVD metrics into this metric, and we make this metric this metric is constructed by the SVD decomposition of these channels, and then we do this downlink precoder calculation, and then we have this downlink beamforming vector, and we'll apply this beamforming vector to the downlink transmitter or the aggressor. Then we can see these are the results that we can see that if you have several eigenvalue and the corresponding vectors of the eigenvalue into this metric, then we have interference separation. And here is for example, if you want to separate the interference by 20 dB, then you need to you need 3 eigenvalues of the beamforming freedom of this aggressor. Yeah. So by this simulation, we can prove that the blocking can be suppressed by 20 dB or more by this beamforming method. And the other interference is the intersite leakage interference handling, because here we have the downlink transmission and we have the uplink receiving simultaneously, and the aggressor will leak some interference to this part of the frequency. So this is the link budget of the interference, the leakage interference calculation. And from this one, because this is the adjacent frequency interference, we have minus 45 dB isolation of the interference. So totally we have the interference, the ratio of the interference to the noise is about 22 dB. So how do we suppress this leakage interference? We propose to use the IRC receiver to do this task. For example, if the HK is the target data layer or the target user's channel, and this is the UE's interference or the uplink interference from UE, and this one is the interference from other cells of the uplink, and this one is the downlink interference. R means the correlation matrix of the, for example, this one is the correlation matrix of the uplink interference from other cells or intercells, and this is the spatial correlation matrix of the downlink cross-link interference. But this is leakage interference spatial correlation, and by this this IRC receiver, we can suppress the cross-link leakage interference. But how much we can suppress depends on how accurate we can measure this spatial correlation matrix. In this simulation, if the cross-link interference spatial correlation matrix is not accurately measured, then we have this simulation result. And then if we measure the spatial correlation matrix accurately, then we have this simulation result. Then as we can see, there are only about 1 dB.
I'm interrupting in between. 13 minutes have already passed away. Please try to finish it up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. So this is our scheme. In the scheme, we have some muting symbols to measure the correlation matrix. Okay, and then we also have coexistence issues. For example, if the one operator have say legacy sites and the other, and also have sub and multiplex sites, so they have mutual interference. So we propose to mute the legacy TDD, some of the RBs and the legacy TDD to avoid the interference. Okay, maybe, yeah, and we also have coexistence issues between operator A and operator B. So the operator A and operator B, they are close to each other. So we propose to have a filter to filter the blocking interference out. Yeah. Okay. So in our sub-band multiplex scheme, we have 2 issues to deal with. One is the blocking interference suppression. We have scheme to suppress more than 20 dB of the blocking interference, and for the leakage issue, we have the IRC receiver to only have 1 dB degradation of the demodulation sensitivity. Okay, and for the coexistence scenario, we maybe need more study in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We have time for one quick question. Any questions? So then I have a quick question, because so this presentation is quite, the research is quite different from like the previous presentation, where it was like social media. Here it's like hardware and how you deal with the data. What do you think are the limitations of your work?
I think in our work we need to prove these schemes in the real hardware. So we are doing the hardware, and we will continue to do this in our prototypes to prove our schemes useful in reality.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you,
So,
Chairman.
To have a question.
okay, sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. Tell me one thing, because you're working on hardware, are there any sustainability related issues too associated with this?
Two, you mean
In terms of heat being generated or carbon emission or anything of that sort?
no, I think because our hardwares are very dedicated designed. For example, the base station, for example, the UE, there is no general to do this testing.
Okay, thank you for your
Okay.
presentation. We'll move to the next speaker, and that's Roman, with detection of structure changes in lightweight concrete with nanoparticles using computer vision models in construction industry.
Hello, everyone. May I start sharing?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so our topic is detection of structure changes in lightweight concrete with nanoparticles using computer vision method in the construction industry. So as you can see in this background, we have a concrete, a lot of concrete, and all of this material needs to be very straight, let's say, and we need to have this construction be available to a different, like, let's say, externals of external factors and so on, and that's a very important thing, and we need to find the way how we can improve the structure of this of this material. If we have optimal combination of some factors, let's say, I will explain it on the next slide in more details. So we will have a better construction, and it will be, I guess, more convenient to use and so on. And slightly can provide some introduction about myself. So my name is Roman Masyuk. I'm a postgraduate student at Ivan Franko National University of Lviv, and together with my colleague, we have prepared this this paper. And my colleagues from the Lviv Polytechnic, Physical Mechanical Institute, and National Lviv National Forestry University, and that's over outline, let's say, about the presentation, and I would like to start with the overview of the problem. As I mentioned before, this concrete material, we can look at the structure under the microscope, and the microstructure of this concrete mix often contains pores, crystals, nanoparticles, and some that's calls CHS gel. That's hydrated calcium silicate gel, and it looks like how it is shown in this picture. Pores, that's black areas here, that's dark areas, and we need to have these pores due to have due to have some air spaces, yeah, you know, in this material and so on. And we have this CH gel, that's some white section, like mostly, and this gel looks like on the microscope picture with the white, let's say, and white color, and all of this like gray colors can be, and so on. So, and the number and diameter of pores and this gel affects the strength of the of concrete, and a positive effect of this structure trace element of the mixture is observed when we will add some cuprum oxygen or silicium oxygen to nanoparticles. That's micro particles that helps to have this material most straight, and all of the structure will be more complex, and that's it for the explanation. Let's move on. Let me explain the purpose and objections of this research. Actually, the purpose of this research is to reveal the regularity of changes of the structure with this lightweight concrete with nanoparticles, taking into account like a different nanoparticles that can help to have this to have this material more available to use on the construction industry. So we have determine how we can actually use this picture to see some combination, and how these changes can impact of this optimal mixture. So we use method of analysis the pixels, and that's we scan like all of these microscope pictures, and we divide all of these pixels like to the several group, and check all of these attributes that we have with this pixel. That's color, RGB, so that's red, blue and gray color, and combination that can help us to define this dark, that's pores, pore areas on the microscope picture, like of this concrete, and the white section, that's gel. And that's a result of our investigation of this. So actually we have here some percentage of pores and so on with the different resolution of microscope, and we can actually say that when we have 1 nanometer, that should be like a big number of pores, and we can compare how it will be like with and without some nanoparticle and so on. So actually it looks like this. So all of this green section, that's a pore. So here you can see it, and that's a gel. And this example for the different view and different this resolution of microscope. Actually, we have investigated some issue with the currying. Let's say that's when we just wait, we can prepare some mixture and wait when it will be like in a complex and check it. So here you can see the table with comparison how this, like, let's say that's a percentage of number, this percent so on can change, and during the day when it is occurring and so on. So and using this table we can have some result and we can combine all of this data to see how what is the optimal combination of this all of this particulars and micro elements that we should add to the concrete and so on. So that represents how we can use computer vision method and so on to determine the structure of the concrete and so on. The biggest issue which we are facing with that we don't have enough these microscope pictures like in a open source, let's say, way to use it. Yeah. A lot of researchers use it only for the own way, and we need to have this to have a lot of different combinations and to find the better way. And conclusion that I can summarize, and the paper solves the possibility how we can use this pore analysis and like this GEL analysis of this microscope images to find like a number of that and to check the optimal structure of that and the issue that we should maybe we should improve in the future, I guess, so this algorithm to have some filters, like we should use some filters maybe for the better result and to use some other like new technologies that can be like deep learning maybe to have a better results and to check it. That's our plan. But for now, we have started with this stuff and we'll proceed with it. Thank you for your attention and that's it basically. Do you have some questions? So thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions? I have a question for you. So you mentioned that future plans might include using some type of deep learning algorithms. Now, the problem with deep learning algorithms is that they usually, especially in this case of image segmentation, they need labeled data. How do you think you could label your data sets? Are they already labeled, or are you manually labeling each pixel based on the type of class?
Okay, got it. Thank you for your question. I think we should start with the manual labeling, and after that we can proceed with a more complex solution. Start with some easy way, and after that move to some automatic of this process. And so I guess something like that. But that's an interesting question. Actually.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
No question from my side.
Anupam, Oh,
No, I have no questions. Elena has already asked.
okay, ma'am.
Okay, then thank you so much for your presentation. Let's move to the next speaker with the article Natural Language Processing for Corporate Culture Assessment, Lessons Learned for Building a Strong Employee Value Proposition with GBTW Switzerland AG.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you fine.
Okay, then I can share my desktop with you. Okay, so hello, everyone. My name is Guang Lu. I'm from Louisiana University of Applied Science and Arts. I'm a lecturer for data science. Today, I'm going to present to you our research project, Natural Language Processing for Corporate Culture Assessment. We want to present to you how we use natural language processing to study the employee value propositions with our industry partners, Great Place to Work, Switzerland AG. So the agenda of my presentation is as follows. First, I will give you an introduction of our research project. I will walk you through the Great Place to Work culture audit data set. And then I will introduce to you the natural language processing analytical framework. I will present to you the results and give some discussions. And finally, I will draw the conclusions and outlook for this research project. The employee value proposition, or in short, EVP, balances employee satisfaction and performance in the work culture. Actually, this is very important for employers because in the nowadays labor market, employers tries to make the best culture to attract the potential employees. So far, most EVPs have been developed through a top-down approach led by management, HR, or marketing representatives. So a trend existing in the field is to develop the EVP also from the employee side, and that is to collect some voices from the employee side, try to analyze it, and to understand the value proposition of the employer. Traditional approaches to evaluating these EVPs by analyzing open survey comments or qualitative audits are also ineffective because most of them are based on manual investigations. That depends a lot on the experience of the consultant and could be time consuming. So in this project, we think we could use natural language processing to partially automate this EVP assessment process in order to provide additional and supportive insights in the assessment of the corporate culture. I think the challenge here mostly lies into the assessment of the corporate culture in the context of EVP using the description of the management auctions, because normally these kind of management auctions will follow a predefined guideline to address the required cultural aspects, but they can be very different in styles and from one company to another. So using natural language processing, we aim to investigate how we can extract these different styles from the different responses of the companies. Let's have a look first at the Great Place to Work culture audit data set. And this data set is developed by the company Great Place to Work. It contains 5 key questions that ask the potential companies to align their actions to build a strong EVP with 5 cultural values. That means trust, maximizing human potential, values, leadership, effectiveness, and innovation. And these are the 5 key cultural values defined by Great Place to Work. And in the questionnaire, they also provide detailed definitions or sub-questions to help the companies to understand these cultural perspectives better and to help them answer specific questions or aspects in these cultural dimensions. So in this data set, it includes responses from 54 companies in Switzerland of different sizes means small, medium, and large companies. And so we try to cover a larger scope of the company sizes. So on the right-hand side, you see a diagram that shows some correlation data obtained directly from this culture audit data set. And on the vertical axis, you see some cultural values, trust, maximizing human potential, etc. And they are correlated with the other cultural values based on the rating values given by Great Place to Work to these companies' responses. So once the Great Place to Work gets some responses from the companies for each cultural value, they will invite internal consultant and rate it whether the company is very good or need to improve into that cultural dimension, and therefore they will give a rating values. So this diagram predict the correlation between these cultural values. So you see that generally there is a strong correlation, 0.9, between the general rating values for certain companies' culture to the rating value to that company's culture value in trust. So actually in this culture audit data, trust covers a larger scope or larger aspects of the company aspects. So company need to answer on a lot of different perspectives, and that might explain why the general rating values correlates strongly with the rating for the value trust. But in general, these cultural values are possibly correlated. That means the company is addressing one single topic, that is the corporate culture or EVP. So to help using natural language processing to analyze this cultural audit data, we use the following analytical framework with 3 different levels. First, we performed some text pre-processing, and this includes a very general standard processes to clean the text data. And then we split that into 3 levels: on the word level, sentence level, and topic levels. And word level, basically, we want to analyze the keywords of the text and tries to match this keyword to the culture values, and to see if we can generate an insight into the culture based on the keywords. And sentence level basically tries to understand the semantic meaning of the responses from companies and try to compare that with the definition of the cultural values. And topic level analysis helps us give some high level topics. Hopefully we can link that to the sentence and word level analysis and help us to better explain the natural language processing results. And finally, we compare our NLP results with the human analysis and aim to generate some useful business insights. So let's see the first result. And here you see a diagram shows the correlations between the document length and a lot of different parameters based on the cultural value trust. Actually, trust is very representative in the cultural audit data. So we take this cultural value as an example. Here, we first see that the document length correlates possibly 0.6 with the Great Place to Work culture score, indicating that Great Place to Work focuses on identifying stories behind the explanation of culture. So actually, for each response, there is maximum 5,000 words to answer the question. The longer the text, the company is better to understand the story behind the culture, so they can give a better evaluation. So this correlation represents the positive correlation between the document length and the company's responses. And for the scores generated in between for the cultural value trust, you see 100, 200, 300. Actually, we used the machine learning method to develop some synonyms, to generate some synonym for the selected keywords in the cultural value trust. So for cultural value trust, we look at literature and selected some seed words that can represent the value trust. Then based on that, we train machine learning models based on our data and to find synonyms of these keywords in our data set. And so we changed the length of this select the keywords to see if it can influence the results. What we find is that the result does not change too much. The cultural scores obtained with the word embedding method correlated, however, negatively with the Great Place to Work scores, regardless of dictionary length. Here you can see the numbers on the right-hand side. And this might be because, as we said, the Great Place to Work culture scores concentrate mostly on the story behind the responses of companies, but the word embedding models are mostly concentrated on a single word. So there could be a misalignment between the two. And we also find the influence of the source text on the training accuracy of the word embedding model is limited. And we try to enlarge the training corpus for our machine learning models to generate synonyms for the cultural value trust. And this does not influence our results. The second observation is based on the sentence embedding model, as we thought because we want to emphasize semantic meanings more compared to the single word. So we use a sentence transformer, which is a state-of-the-art framework to encode the original text into embedding vectors. And this sentence transformer is very easy to apply to first to the responses from the companies. We try to encode them into a vector, and this vector can be understood to encode the semantic meaning of these responses. At the same time, we try to encode the description of certain cultural values also in a semantic vector space. And this description of the cultural values or definition of these cultural values can be obtained from our company partners. By comparing these two semantic vectors, or more specifically to calculate the cosine similarity, we can generate the insight whether they are similar to each other or not. Here we see that a slight positive correlation can be obtained for the scores based on word embedding and sentence embedding models, and also between the Great Place to Work score and the sentence scores. And finally, we try to apply the structured topic modeling to the cultural dimension of trust and try to access the underlying topics of the company's responses and their correlation with the meta parameters such as Great Place to Work culture score. So in this analysis, we thought we can extract the topics first, and this structured topic modeling can also help us to link these topics to the Great Place to Work culture score. And that helps us to explain if the company performs or gets a good score on certain cultural perspectives, why it is good. So these topics might give us some additional insight. So based on the cultural value trust, we have obtained 4 topics and also given some keywords for each topic. By first insight, when you look at these keywords, it seems that it's quite challenging to distinguish between the topics. But also it's a good lesson for the developing this EVP, because it seems that the companies have some challenges to distinguish different topics and try to mix them all together to answer the questions in the cultural value trust. And this could also be a lesson for them in the future and to try to distinguish them better in the market to attract the potential employees. But still, this structured topic model revealed a relatively strong correlation, 0.65, between the topic 1 and the highest GPTW culture score. And this implies that if the score of the topic 1, suppose that we know this topic 1, and then it can help the companies to reconsider and improve their management actions in that area to improve the EVP scores. Discussion. Overall, we did not find a strong positive correlation between the machine and human ratings. However, the sentence embodied model seems to be promising for the future, especially we can better define the criteria used to assess culture. We also found the structured topic modeling is interesting to increase explanation power of the language models. Another way to improve the explanatory power of the machine learning models is to involve humans into the loop and let human or consultant to make justifications to the company's responses in between together with the machine learning models, so they can give feedback to the machine learning models and let them learning during this process and try to update model itself. And this falls into the reinforcement learning scope. As a final conclusion, we applied a state-of-art NLP method to evaluate the EVP of companies based on a culture audit dataset. And the analysis can be performed on word, sentence, topic levels to potentially help automating this process. Overall, we find that existing NLP method generates results that only to small extent match the human assessment of corporate culture. However, sentence embedding models is promising, and especially in the future, we want to further better define the criteria for good corporate culture, and then use sentence embedding model might generate even better results. And our analysis also suggests some guidelines that can help companies develop a strong EVP and release the management measures. Most importantly, in the future, we want to improve the explanatory power of the machine learning models through, for example, structured topic modeling or human-assisted text classification. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions? I have one quick question. So you mentioned that you trained a machine learning method to in order to select synonyms or to generate synonyms.
Yes.
What was that machine learning method?
Basically, if you know the word to vector models, and this is a very basic models, and we use a similar ideas to train this word to vector model based on our own data corpus. So in that way, we can find similarity between the words, and based on this similarity, we can generate a list of the keywords that match to the corporate culture value trust. So we can change this length of the keywords list from 100 to 800 and to investigate if this number of keywords will influence our evaluation results.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions?
Okay, what was, it was a very interesting presentation, in fact. What are the future plans other than structured topic modeling? How do you intend to take this further? Have you shared the guidelines with any industry?
I would say that the future work that would incorporate a human in the loop, and that is seems to be very important because humans, especially consultant, has a lot of experience in evaluating this corporate culture, and they can provide feedback to the models in the learning process. For example, the model can classify if a certain sentence in the response correlating to a good cultural value trust or not. Then the human consultant can jump in and say, this is a good prediction or bad prediction, and try to classify this text. And this feedback into the model, and that model try to update these parameters. And after this tuning process, hopefully the model can better recognize the good examples in the text, why the cultural value is good or not. And this is something we want to do in the next.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
So the next article is the potential impact of central bank digital currencies on economic and financial sector development. Could you share your presentation?
Yes, hello everyone. Now I guess you could see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. So I would like to start with a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Galia Kondova and I'm a lecturer at the University of Applied Sciences in Basel. And we have written this paper with Simon Meyer. It is about an infrastructure, a new technology, blockchain technology, which is now being considered also by the central banks worldwide. And we were looking at different types of architectures on this blockchain that could facilitate the launch of a digital currency. So what is a digital currency? Or in particular, a central bank digital currency? A central bank digital currency is the virtual form of fiat money and is fully backed by the issuing central bank. So this is a currency which is in a digital form, and this is very important, especially in the context of the different digital ecosystems that are currently being discussed under the metaverse discussion, Internet of Things, decentralized finance, and that's why these digital central bank digital currencies are very important. We could say that if such a currency is being launched by a central bank, then it would present a digital claim against the central bank, similar to the fiat money that are in circulation nowadays.
Interrupting in between, are you running your presentation?
Yes.
But we can just see the first slide in the PowerPoint.
You can only see the first slide.
Yes, go to slideshow mode.
Okay, because I am already in now. Do you see something?
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, good. So I was just, and this one, the previous slide, could you see it?
Now we can see it.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So I was just introducing the definition of a central bank digital currency. And I was mentioning that this is particularly important for the development of any digital ecosystems within a digital finance framework, Internet of Things. And that's why we were looking also at the different architectures that are currently being discussed by many central banks. So what are the types of these different design architectures that could be built, constructed on a blockchain by a central bank? We could classify these different design architectures into 3 different groups, depending on these design architectures. We could identify direct, indirect, and hybrid central bank digital currencies, depending on the distribution model, or these could be retail, wholesale central bank digital currencies, depending on their implementation. And finally, we could talk about account-based or token-based central bank digital currencies, depending on the underlying format. In reality, however, it's a mixture of combination of these different 3 types of formats that could be built on a blockchain. What is quite interesting for most of us being consumers is a model which is a so-called direct token-based retail central bank digital currency. As you could see, it's a mixed model building on a direct distribution, a token-based type of a CBDC, and a retail, which means that this central bank digital currency is used in retail, namely directly by businesses and by consumers. So I would like to spend now some more time on this model, because this is a model, as I said, of utmost interest for the economy, for the businesses, and a direct CBDC is actually issued directly to individuals and businesses by a central bank. And as you could see here on this diagram, we have a consumer A, and this consumer has a direct account at the central bank, which means that the consumer A has a wallet in which the consumer A could keep the digital tokens, the digital currency, and at the same time, this consumer has a direct claim on the central bank, because the central bank is the direct issuer of this token, of this digital currency. If a transaction is to take place between consumer A and consumer B, this also takes place through on the blockchain, through an exchange of these tokens between the two wallets of the two consumers. But actually the settlement is being done at the central bank level. And as you could see here, there is no intermediary. There is no commercial bank being involved in this model as we know it. And that's why this model is considered to be the most disruptive model for the financial system. As I've mentioned, this is just one model out of the many I presented at the beginning that are being under consideration by different central banks. And we only have one central bank currently in the world that has decided to adopt this model. And it has to do, of course, with the characteristics of this country. And it's a very small country. So this is the Bahamas and the Central Bank of Bahamas. And they have decided to introduce this model because also of the geographics of this country, the different small islands. And they have launched central bank digital currency based on this direct token-based retail CBDC, which is known as the cent dollar. This is what we have now currently in the world that is showing some very positive effect by adopting this model. But it's, of course, an open question whether other banks will follow suit. And here, we have to keep in mind that when introducing this model, then the role of banks as an intermediary would be substantially undermined. I would like to move to a next model that is also of quite a big interest for most financial systems. And this is the so-called direct wholesale CBDC. The direct wholesale CBDC is a type of a central bank digital currency that actually would allow the direct transaction of money flows between the banks. However, here we don't have the individuals, the consumers, and the businesses that have a direct claim on the central bank, but only the commercial banks. Basically, instead of the consumers, now the commercial banks would have an account, a digital currency account at the central bank, and they would settle, or they would undertake their interbank payments via these accounts at the central bank level in the form of wholesale central bank digital currency. As you could see, this model will not be so much disruptive for the whole financial system, and then it would not undermine the role of banks as we know them in the economy. And we have also a bank that in the world, the national bank, that has adopted already this model, and this is the National Bank of Cambodia. And this, of course, is under discussion still in most of the rest of the world, where there are lots of pilots or a proof of concept that consider these different types of models. And one final model I would like to present to you is the one on the so-called indirect retail central bank digital currency. And in this model, as the name tells us, indirect, we have digital currency issued by the central bank, however, not directly to the consumers or the businesses, but to an intermediary. And this is this could be a commercial bank, as you could see here as an example on this slide. And then we have the commercial bank as an intermediary, then that is taking care of the launching, the onboarding, all the anti-money laundering clearings, and only through the commercial bank, the different consumers, here we have them again, consumer A and B, have access to this digital currency. So the indirect retail CBDC. So yes.
Your 10 minutes have already gone. Please try to wind up in next 2 minutes.
Okay, good. So this is actually bringing me to my conclusion slide.
Okay,
right? I'll have the 2 minutes for the conclusion. Considering these models, actually, we come up to the conclusion that there are some great opportunities, possibilities by introducing this new technology, the blockchain facilitated central bank digital currencies. And some benefits could be the development of new business models based on smart contracts for digitalization in the whole economy. We could experience some facilitation in the different trade finance ecosystems. And then we have currently over 86% of central banks worldwide that are actively researching central bank digital currencies. And some are very advanced, as in my presentations, others are at the stage of research or pilots or proof of concept. But it's an area which it's worth keeping an eye on. So thank you very much for this opportunity to present these results.
So I have a quick question to you.
Yes.
Which model, you have suggested a few models. According to you, which model is the best one?
In my opinion, if we would like to encourage digitalization, development of digital ecosystems, the so-called platform business models, I would say that having direct account-based model would be the best one.
Why?
Because now we see some hindrances, obstacles in the development of the digital ecosystems that are using different cryptocurrencies like stable coins, altcoins, and so on. And the problem is that there isn't enough trust in these digital currencies. And there is volatility and quite a lot of speculation on these markets. And the stakeholders on these digital ecosystems do not have the stability that could be offered by a central bank digital currency. If we have a central bank digital currency and especially a direct one, then all the players in the economy, businesses or consumers, would have the a claim on the central bank, which means will be no risk by using such a digital currency, and this would facilitate the development of these digital ecosystems.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Dr. Alina, if you have any question with the presenter?
No, no questions.
Okay, so shall we move for the next presenter?
Okay, thanks a lot for the great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the next article is Theoretical Fundamentals of Criteria for Evaluation of Efficiency, Quality, and Optimization of Cortex Informationology Systems. Do we have the speaker?
Yeah, I think so. He's absent.
So, do we have any other presenters left, Harsh?
No, ma'am. We have complete all the presenters except the last one.
Okay, and he's not available, right?
Right, ma'am.
That's great. We have finished on time.
Yes. Okay, so let's conclude the session. I sincerely thank our authors for their excellent presentation and their great contribution in this session, and all the participants for being a part of this international conference. I hope this session was informative enough to all the participants. We, on behalf of whole team, thank you for your support during this version and the 8th version of this conference. And we will be happy to have you all in the 2024 in the physical mode. Further, all the participants will be getting their digital certificates through email within 2 working days. And further, all the papers have been already forwarded to the Springer. The publication will be live within 6 months. So kindly cooperate with the team ICICT 2023. And now I also want to thank our session chairs for chairing the session. Just a second. Yes. Ma'am, there's one token of appreciation from the team ICICT 2023 and the Global Knowledge Research Foundation. Dr. Alina, this one is for you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Anubha, ma'am, this one is for you to chairing the session.
Thank you, Harsh. Thank you very much.
Okay. So now in the end, I would like to request you all to turn on your camera so we can capture the good memories of this virtual conference. I request you all, if it is possible, please turn on your camera. Okay, no worries. Okay, thank you very much to everyone. And thank you, ma'am, once again.
Thank you, everybody, for presenting your papers. They were very great and very good research ideas we have discussed. All the best to all of you for your future. And thank you, Alina. It was wonderful to be a co-chair with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we had quite an eclectic session with a variety of papers from different domains.
Yes.
So it's really interesting to see not to stay in our small research bubble, but also to hear research from other domains. So thank you very much.
Right. Okay. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you all. And
Bye-bye.
stay safe and take care, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.